All right, so we are going to get started. And I'm just going to introduce who is here with us today. So my name is Julia Trigo, and I am working this summer at CodeHS on the PD team as a PD specialist. And during the school year, I actually work at a high school, teaching at a high school in Northern Virginia. So I worked for CodeHS before that and got the itch to go back to the classroom during the crazy last year that we had. But I used to work developing curriculum. So it has been really awesome for me this whole summer to spend time with teachers, bringing them all of the awesome information that we have on CodeHS and the resources that you can use in your classroom. I'm also here with Linda, who is going to be giving us some information in our first hour of our session today. She's going to go over CodeHS in general and lead us through a sample lesson. So you're going to get to see how you can use those resources on CodeHS to bring that information to your students. And then I will be leading us through some sessions during our second hour. But we're also joined by Emily, who is going to be on our support side, answering all the questions that you have, making sure that what you came for today, you are leaving with. So we're really excited to be here and bring you all of this awesome content. And the main goal for us today is that any question you have will be answered. So how are you going to ask questions as we go through our session today? We have a question parking lot, and we're going to drop that link into the chat so you can have this open on the side. This is a really awesome place. We know that if you're here, most likely you're new to CodeHS, and you may have some questions about how things work. If anything pops up, you can go right to that question parking lot at any point in our session, and you can ask your question on there, and we will be making sure that those get answered as our session progresses today. So that's a really great spot for you to put questions at any point as we go through our session. All right, so what if you need an account? So we're going to drop this link. I'm sorry, this is how all our workshops go. Heavy link bombardment at the beginning. So if you need an account, if you don't have one yet on CodeHS, you can take a minute to sign up using this link. It will ask you for some information about your school so that we can get you verified as a teacher and get you access to all of the solutions and curriculum on our site. Once you do that, we are then going to be joining a demo course. So we're going to put that information up here, but I just want to let you know, if you are totally brand new to CodeHS and you're like, I just want to see what's going on, totally do not feel that you have to make an account right now. If it's overwhelming, just sit back and watch, and you can always go through this session again when we send the recording out later. So here is our information for our demo course. We're going to be using some resources on CodeHS so that you can go through a sample lesson and view how it would feel to go through a lesson on CodeHS as a student. So if you click on this link, it will ask you to enter a code. It may ask you to enter a code. And if it does, the code is those last 5 digits, 52368. And once you sign in to your account and you use this link, it should bring up the section. We will go through that layout of CodeHS. So if you've never been on our site before, we will give you all of that information about how that's laid out. But this is actually the exact way that students will join your class. And I'll talk about that a little bit later in our session. So let's see as you're getting enrolled in our demo session, let's look at what we're going to cover today. So really quickly, we set up our accounts and got enrolled in our demo section. Linda's going to give us some background of what is CodeHS. What do we offer, right? Maybe you just you're like me when I was teaching and I was like, I need to teach coding and I don't know how. I don't know, how to get my kids engaged in this. I just Googled, how do I teach coding, right? What platforms are available? And that's how I found CodeHS. So maybe you did the same thing and you just found our workshop here. Maybe you've heard some of your other colleagues use it or other teacher friends. or you may have used us a little bit in the past and you want more information. So we're going to go and see, what do we offer? What are you going to find on our site? And then Linda's going to bring us through the editor. So what does it look like when students are writing code? What are all of those pieces? Because there's so much hidden information that a lot of teachers and students don't even know, these really helpful tools that exist. So she's going to point some of those out and then go through that sample lesson. And we're going to use one of our flagship courses, our Intro to Computer Science in JavaScript course. And we're going to look at basically our CodeHS unofficial mascot, Carol, who is going to introduce students to JavaScript. Then we're going to take about a 5-minute break at the hour mark, and then we'll come back and look at all of the courses that are offered on CodeHS. So I'm going to bring you through that course catalog, and it is immense. We just dropped, I think, 6 or 8 new courses last week, so it's constantly growing. And then we're going to look at how you can actually create courses and sections to enroll students in and how they do that. And then how you can actually customize those courses. So if you already have some information that you want to bring to your students, you already use some resources, I'll show you how you can get those into the CodeHS platform so that students have a seamless way to navigate all of your information. And we'll look at some tools and resources and then do a wrap up. But I just want to remind you before we get started that that question parking lot is available for you at any time. So instead of putting your questions into the chat, make sure you put them there, because then we make sure that they are not missed, and we will give you a full detailed answer there. All right. So I'm really excited. If anyone has any issues, you can write them in the chat, write them in the parking lot. We'll be there. But Linda is going to take it away.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to present about CodeHS because I was a teacher who used CodeHS for about the last 5 years before I transitioned to a full-time role here as a PD specialist. And so what is CodeHS? Real quick, first of all, it's a comprehensive platform. And what we mean by that is really your courses come, kind of packaged up in a box, ready to go, ready to teach for middle school and high school. So we provide all of the curriculum as a web-based curriculum. So there is nothing that students will have to download or nothing you'll have to install locally in order to run the courses. The courses we do as you can see, we offer online professional development. We also have some offline professional development, depending on what district you're in. It's a full software platform. So it has teacher tools, it has LMS features. You're going to see a little bit later how you can even customize even the courses that are already available to you that are right out of the box. You can even customize them to make them your own. So I'm excited. So real quick, what is our story? So Jeremy and Zach, you can see them there on the top right. They met their freshman year of Stanford, and they wanted to create, a platform for students to learn how to code, starting in high school. And but they recognized that it's not just about teaching the students, but also having a way for the teachers to be able to teach that curriculum. So they help teach the Intro to Computer Science. So the flagship course is that Intro to CS course that you're going to see today. And they started CodeHS their senior year, and it's evolved from there. So they've actually visited classrooms all around the country. So our mission is really to empower all students to meaningfully impact the future. And read, write, code is kind of like our tagline. We believe here at CodeHS that students, just like reading, writing, and arithmetic used to be like the golden standard for the things that students needed to know before they left school, we really believe it's reading, writing, and coding has become really the 3 things, in addition to math, of course, that they need before to have a meaningful impact on the future, as everything is kind of transitioning to technology. Problem is that schools don't really teach computer science, and they want to teach it, but oftentimes just don't know how, what are the tools that teachers are going to need. The solution is CodeHS. So CodeHS really has everything that schools and districts are going to need. It's all in one place. And like I said, it's web-based. So all of the tools are incorporated in that web browser. You're going to see later all of the courses that we have available, but just at a snapshot, we have a full 6th through 12th grade pathway, and you can, of course, customize and adapt those courses to the way that you teach. This is one of our teachers, is also a teacher trainer. I started off as a teacher trainer here at CodeHS as well. Sean Razor is awesome. He said he had 101 students take the AP exam, 95 passed with a 3 or better. So this is just a testimony also to the high level of rigor of our courses, and the AP courses in particular do align to the College Board standards as well, and they're approved by the College Board. So it's pretty cool. All that we offer. We also offer professional development, some that are specific to courses. So over the summer, you may see courses on web design or mobile apps. And oftentimes our trainings focus on teacher tools as well to help you manage your classes and manage your classroom. We have a comprehensive platform. Again, you can receive feedback. You can receive communication from students, submit grades as well as feedback to your students, and everything really is all incorporated, including tracking of students right on the platform. Some teacher tools and resources. It differs on which plan you're on, but you will, as a new teacher, even if you're using just the free version of CodeHS, you have access to the activities, the problem guides, to be able to see, solution code to different assignments, as well as some lessons in the first module or so. You'll have access to the lessons to decide whether you really want to hop into the pro plan or stick with the free. So as far as a coding platform, we are in about 25,000 classrooms, and we serve about 2.5 million students. That's pretty cool. And to be able to bring that much engagement to our students. So we're really excited that you're here. We hope that the next hour we're able to show you really what the code editor looks like, how to manage your classes, and how to get started on that first day. So one thing that I'm going to show you is we're going to dive right into the demo course. So just real quick, I just want to tell you, if you are having trouble getting into that demo course, please reach out to either Emily or Julia. They're available for you to ask any questions. If you're trying to still set up your teacher account as well with CodeHS, please reach out to us and let us know. So at any time, of course, you can feel free to just watch what I'm doing, but it would be awesome if you can dive in and actually see the course live as I'm going through these different components. So we'll go in. I do have to say, just from a personal perspective, and personal testimony, I came out of college with an English degree and started teaching computer science. So I really, truly had no previous experience, and CodeHS offered everything that I needed in order to teach my courses. So I am excited to kind of walk you through this. So first and foremost, I'm going to go and hop over to this other screen. I have our demo course already set up here. I am looking at the demo course from the teacher's perspective, so you can see us here at the top, the teachers. And what you want to do is you want to go ahead and go over to the assignments. You should default to the assignments page. I had a question regarding whether I started off as a free or pro version teacher. I actually started off as a free version teacher. It's a great question. And then we, through much advocacy, I decided, I wanted the pro version, and my school was able to provide that. So what I want to do is I'm going to switch between teacher and student view. So the teacher assignment view is what you're currently seeing on your screen. And this is just a way for me to be able to see all the courses. We have our learning management system is really broken down into modules, lessons, and then activities. And so what we've done is we've put together a demo course for you that includes the workshop information. Now, later on, Julia will be doing a little customization of this particular course, so you'll have some additional resources before the end of this session. But we have added in all of the components of the Intro to JavaScript course in here so that you can have a chance to kind of play around with that before your students come back. But you'll notice that as I minimize and maximize each of these modules, you can see in each module the individual lessons, and inside the lessons you can see the individual activities. So those activities may include something like a video, it may include a check for understanding, so a quiz, sometimes a full-length test or midterm. You have examples built into, that really correlate with the videos. So what they watch is also what they're able to see on the example and play around with. They also have exercises. The exercises are graded activities as well. Really any components can be graded activities, but generally the exercises are where they're going to be able to show what they've learned and apply it to their coding. Sometimes you'll see things like articles or links to other relevant information, as well as maybe a widget that may help to inform them on different types of computer science topics. So for instance, we have a widget that shows them, a bit converter, so they can see something like conversion from a number to binary and so on. So you may see different types of activities depending on the type of course it is. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to hop in with you to the summer workshop. At the very top in this in this module that we've created with the sun, and you'll see later how to customize it, you'll be able to see the Intro to Programming with Carol, the dog. Now, what I want to do is I want to take us back to the slides, and we're going to walk through a full assignment in just a moment. We'll walk through the lesson together. But what I want to do is just first show you the integrated development environment. So we at CodeHS have developed a coding environment that is fully online. And the way that it's set up is you have your exercise. So in this case, we have a beginning world and an ending world. And when I hit let's go, students can add their code here to the middle in the code editor. So the code editor has a couple of different components to it. So I can, of course, add my code in. I can also debug my code right in the IDE. And I'm going to show you an example of that. On the left-hand side here, we have what's called quick docs. Oftentimes, if there is a new concept that is being shown or being demonstrated within the video, within that lesson, you'll see some documentation on the left-hand side. Students can also toggle, if you see this little calendar view here, they can also toggle to the other modules within the particular course that they're taking. So they could, if they needed to hop over to a previous assignment from the Carol lessons, they could do that there. The other thing that they can do is run their code and check their code. So I want to really quickly take a look at my quick docs. It looks like Carol knows move, turn left, put ball, and take ball. So let me go ahead and just write a command here. And what I want to do is show what that does. So when I hit run, I have either hare or tortoise speed up here at the top. So if I want to run it in a little bit quicker, I can do that. Carol may have different worlds. You can also step through the code. So if you want to only look at specific parts of the code, maybe I have 2 move commands. And in this case, I want Carol to kind of step through each command individually. So if I run it, it's going to do both. But if I step back, I can step back and step forward. And this is a great way for your students to debug code. So if something was missing, let's say I was missing a semicolon, and I reset and try to run that code, it might tell me that there's an issue with my code. So I might step through the code and see what's happening there on that line and make that comparison. The other thing that it will do is it will show me what's called test cases. You can also see this check code, this maroon button here allows students to kind of check and see if the functionality and the syntax is all correct in order for them to receive full credit for this particular assignment. Now, these auto graders are included. So whether you are a teacher that decides to maybe grade each individual assignment or use the auto grader, you have those options available. Now, again, under run code, you can also get back to this check code option. Under assignment, this is all of the information that was included in that pop-up when it first came up. The window said, hey, we need you to write a Carol program that creates a short stack of tennis balls, and Carol should move one spot, put down 2 tennis balls, and then move again. So this is the assignment, and this is the ending world, and you can see it there on the left-hand side too. So students have a couple of different places where they can find the information. Now, students are going to be relatively new if they're taking a coding class for the first time. They're going to be relatively new to this particular coding language. And so we've put together a docs tab. So similar to an API, you can see all of the commands that are available within this IDE. So just for Carol, we can see the commands, the functions, conditions, loops. And if I click on one of these, so let's say, for instance, I wanted to create a Carol some code that included an if-else statement, I can see how I can create that using the coding language. So the docs do, they are obviously different depending on the coding language that you're using. So if you're working with HTML and CSS for a web design course, this docs tab is going to look a little bit different and going to include those components. Under the grade tab, this is where students are going to be able to see the grade that you've put in. If it is set to auto grade, that grade would automatically be populated here. And then this more tab is really what I love to show my students. I can actually have a conversation with my students. So if they were struggling with this particular assignment, they wanted to send me a quick message, they could do that here. You as the teacher can also send a message to your students. And your students, you can also reply. These icons here allow you to reply with either a screenshot or some additional code. So it's a pretty neat option. The history tab is what allows you to see all of the instances of when this code was run. So they can go back to any point in their code. Now, just from the teacher's perspective, this is really, really important. When you see that a student perhaps, at 12:25 p.m., they had, one line of code, and at 12:26 p.m., they maybe had 85 lines of code. You probably suspect that something's going on there. So a lot of teachers are wondering, well, how can we, check on cheating, and what's the best way to, check on my students, make sure that their work is their own. This is one of the many ways that you can do it in CodeHS, is check their history and kind of see the breakdown of when the code was run. So that's just a little side note. As a teacher, from teacher to teacher, I wanted to show you that option. Students can also go back to the slides. So if they wanted to check out the slides for this particular assignment, they could actually see that from their end as well. Now I'm going to go back to run code real quick. There's a couple of things I want to show you here that will be helpful for your teaching. Sometimes, sorry, I'm going to go back to it. At the top left-hand corner, it says change editor settings. A lot of the times, well, actually the way I found out that this even existed was my students, of course, found it before I did. So what they can do is they can change their settings to be a different editor. So if they wanted that very cool looking, IDE with the black screen or the Chrome setting, they can absolutely change it if they want to. They can change the editor font, which I love, so that I'm able to see, especially if I'm projecting this onto the screen, I'm able to see it a little bit bigger. So now I'm able to work with my students and maybe we do a little debugging together. So these are just a couple of components. I wanted to kind of run through that assignment with you as, from the teacher's perspective, and show you a couple of ways that your students can really kind of poke around and be self-sufficient to some degree. Especially with the docs tab at the beginning of the school year, I would tell my students, look, if you looked at the docs tab and you still can't figure it out, absolutely, I'll help you, but look at the documentation and let's break it down. Let's see what's going on, so that they can really learn debugging skills and learn perhaps even to do new things that they can even work ahead and learn things like loops and if statements, if that's something that they're very interested in. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to take us back and I'm going to run through this particular assignment as a teacher, and you're going to be my students. Now it's going to feel a little awkward at first because you're probably like, hey, I've been teaching for a while. What's going on here? But the idea is to show you from the student's perspective what it's like to go through a lesson, and then allow you some time to work independently to solve some of these assignments. And then we're going to see a little bit later the tools that are available to you, how to set up your courses, and then everything from the teacher's end, as well as a little collaboration. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. But let me go ahead and go over to the code editor. And what I want to do, forgive me here. All right, so we're going to look at the Intro to Programming with Carol assignment from the student's perspective. So, all right, class, thank you so much for completing our pretest. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about what is a computer. So be ready because you're going to use your chat window. So have that pulled up, and I'm going to ask you a couple questions here. So in your own words, what is a computer? Go ahead and type it in the chat for me. And I want to see some responses. Okay, a machine, excellent. All right, a form of communication with the use of a machine, excellent. Device that does everything, okay? Hardware and software, a tool used to process information, a machine that does what humans tell it, something that can process data and information. All right, a collection of zeros and ones that do what the input tells it to do. Okay, Diane, very good. What I want to do is ask another question now, a follow-up question. Is a dog a computer? Say yes if you agree, or you can choose no if you disagree. Okay, I've got some yeses and some nos. All right. All right, so I'm going to go back to what Diane says. She said a collection of zeros and ones that do what the input tells it to do. You said a tool to process information. And Rebecca had said that it's a machine that does what humans tell it to do. All right. So let's explain your answer. If you were a yes, go ahead and explain your answer. If you were a no, explain your answer. So we've got Vanessa said, no, because a dog can choose. However, Carol is a dog. Okay, true. It takes input and does output. Okay. Okay, Virginia said no, because it doesn't always take the commands very well. Okay. And Carrie says dogs make their own decisions. All right. So yeah. Michael says it does have memory. Yeah. So although a dog does take input, and sometimes we get the output, right, that we're looking for, we don't necessarily always get the same output, right? So we can assume that a dog isn't necessarily a computer, but based on our responses, it looks like a computer takes in commands via input and then outputs something based on what commands you give it, right? So we're going to talk through how we can take this concept and apply it to a dog named Carol. So let's, it says, Lauren said it can be programmed to some extent. Yes, I would say some dogs can be programmed. I have 2 cats and they absolutely cannot be programmed. So just FYI, they're definitely the king and queen of this castle. So who is Carol? So this is Carol. I'm going to go back actually to the, let me go ahead and go back to the assignment because I want to show you what this assignment looks like from the student's perspective. So again, if you are in the summer workshop, you're going to be able to click here and find that lesson when you choose the drop down for the module. So I want to, let me go ahead and go as a teacher. Let's go ahead and go to that first set of slides. So the slides that I'm pulling up over here are also the slides that are in the actual course. And so you have access to either the video. Should I choose to play the video?
Hi, welcome to the first CodeHS video. In this video, we're going to introduce you to programming with Carol the dog.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there because what I wanted you to see is just that you have the option to teach with the video. As a new teacher, this was very helpful to me because I actually learned so much from the video as well as the students did. So, but if you're an experienced teacher and you want to work through the slides, you have this option here at the top. You can toggle to slides and you can actually work through the slides and teach through the slides. So that's what I'm going to do. So again, who or what is Carol? Carol is a dog who's listening to your commands. Okay. So what types of commands? Well, hang on, let me go back. What can Carol do? Carol has a world where she can put down tennis balls. Carol is somewhat limited by her world. So she does have a world that is enclosed by walls. Sometimes the walls are within the world. And it is a grid. So she can go forwards and up, down, backwards, and forwards. But what commands does she already know? She knows 4 commands exactly. She knows move, turn left, put ball, and take ball. Something to note here about these commands. The move command, you can see, has the word move. That's the name of the command. And then we have an opening and closing parenthesis. And at the end of each individual line of code here, you can see a semicolon. So all of those components are necessary for our code to run correctly and efficiently. Now, the other thing that you see on the second line, turn left, is 2 words, and that command is actually created in what's called camel case. So camel case means that the first letter of the first word is lowercase, and all the letters of all the words after that will be uppercase. So even if it was, say, turn left and then turn right, turn would be the only word that would be lowercase and the rest would be uppercase. So again, dissecting that command, there's no spaces in the commands. It needs to match the exact capitalization that I just told you about. And then every command ends in parentheses with a semicolon. Parentheses are going to be especially useful later on. So I'll just let you know those parentheses are going to hold parameters that are going to be important. Later on down the road, we'll learn why we need those specifically in our commands. So we're going to go ahead and write our first Carol program. Now, what's happening here is that Carol starts in the world on the left and ends in the world on the right. So it looks like Carol is going to move 2 times, put a ball down, and then move 2 more times. So if I go ahead and hit next, and again, your students are going to be able to see the video and slides as well. So if they want to explore the example, this is just me putting my teacher hat back on for you. So let's explore the example. It looks like Carol moves twice, puts down 2 balls, and then moves again. So we're going to hit run. We can see moves twice, put down 2 balls, and then moves again. Okay. Now, again, we can step forward and backward through our commands to see if there's any issues with our code. We can add more code. So if you'd like to, add another put ball and see what happens. I can go ahead and run this program again, maybe a little bit faster, and you can see Carol puts down now 3 balls and moves to the end. All right, then it's telling me, it says, oops, it looks like there should only be 2 balls on that second spot there, or that third spot there. So it looks like I need to debug my code, go back through and see where I maybe had too many balls. Looks like line 3, 4, and 5, so I can delete 1 and run that again. All right, excellent. So teacher hat back on. The thing that I used to tell my students is to run the example every single time. A lot of the times they would skip over the example because they were like, hey, it was on the video, I watched it, I'm good. However, if they just do a little bit of playing around and tinkering around with the example, that is a learning strategy in and of itself. And I used to tell them, hey, you can't break it. Go ahead and run the example and add in as much code as you'd like. So just a little teaching tip and tool there for you. All right, class. So just as a reminder, you can always change the settings of your coding environment. So if it's something you can't quite see, you can go ahead and hit this gear at the top left. You can also look at the Docs tab and see all the documentation for the language. So the very first assignment is going to be to move Carol to the start from the starting world. She's going to move and then pick up a ball. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time to go ahead and to go ahead and try this assignment. And then what I'd like everyone to do is share their code in the chat. Just share, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it from the chat and paste it in here, and we're going to see how it runs. All right, so I'm giving you a few minutes here to go ahead and code your very first Carol program. If someone is brave enough to share their code with us, go ahead and throw it in the chat for me. All right, Michael, thank you so much. All right, so we've got a couple of you, Michael, Angie. All right, let me see. Let me go ahead and throw that in here. Let's see what happens. All right, so I'm going to run the code. So Carol moves 4 times and picks up a ball. All right, check my code. Looks like it's all working well. Excellent. So it looks like we have completed our first assignment. If we submit and continue, you can see check, check, check. We meet the world requirement. We've written it correctly. The indentation is correct, and indentation is going to become very important soon. And then your commands all look good as well. So I'm going to go ahead and submit and continue. What I want to do is give you a little bit of time to work on the short stack assignment. So this one has, you write a program to have Carol create a short stack of tennis balls. And then Carol should move 1 spot, put down 2 tennis balls, and then move again. So I'm going to go ahead and let you have a little bit of time to work on this. And then we are going to, once you're finished, you're going to take this quiz, the check for understanding of Carol commands, at the very end of our lesson. So once you hit submit and continue, you should see this quiz question pop up, and you'll be that will be your last portion of your assignment today. So again, I'll give you a few minutes, and if anyone wants to share their short stack code with me, we can go ahead and run that right here in the IDE. Yeah, and definitely let me or Julia or Emily know if you're struggling with finding where to go. Okay, excellent, excellent. Veronica, I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Let's see, whoops, that's from last time. Let me try it again. All right, so let's run that code. Nice job, excellent. So it looks like we met all of the requirements. It's 1 move, 2 footballs, and 1 move. All right, so at this point, if you were struggling at all, make sure to go back and debug your code. Remember that we need to write our code in camel case. So anytime you have 2 words and the second word is not in uppercase, it might throw an error and say that you have a typo. So this is a good way for you to kind of debug your code on your own using the IDE. You can run the code again and see if there are any additional issues. If I indent something too far, it might also throw an error for me. The code would still run, but it'll say on the left-hand side here, you have an indentation error. So you should indent back 1 line. So I can just simply click on that. And by the way, teachers, you can also highlight a bunch of code at one time and hit tab, and that will also indent, or you can shift and tab it back and it will indent a bunch of lines of code at one time. So something to consider. Excellent job. All right, class, make sure you complete that, that quiz, and then we're going to move on. And now I'm going to put my teacher hat back on. We're going to debrief a little bit on the lesson, and we'll talk about some strategies that you can use in your classroom as well. So let me just let me get my All right, so we were here, we took a little bit of time to look at the assignment. And now feel free to also be able to play around a little bit with your code a little later. You have the entire Intro to CS course or Intro to Programming with JavaScript course included in the summer workshop demo course. So a couple of things for homework. We might tell our students, hey, there is a handout available. And so we've included this in the slides, and Julia will be sending those out, but I think she's also going to add it to the demo course here in a moment. What I want to do is just show you what one of these offline handouts would look like. So if you wanted to use an offline handout, you could print these or have them available as a Google document, or perhaps you want to download it as a Word document, and have your students go ahead and write out some commands or write out some code. That is another option if you'd like them to do that for homework, or as maybe a warm-up, that's an option. Some other lesson alternatives. So you saw me teach through the slides today, but you can actually add your own slides if you'd like, or your own presentation. You can also have your students watch the videos at home and then come to the classroom, ready to go. You can watch the video as a full class together. That's oftentimes what we did in my classes, especially the more advanced classes. The videos are very engaging and the students tended to like them. You can complete the exercises individually, or you can have them pair up in smaller groups. They can also just pair up in twos and so on. You can start with a blank editor and write out your own examples, or you can use the examples that are already available to you. Also, there are options for the students to maybe go through these courses self-paced, or they, in some cases, you may be teaching a class where you have several different sections of one class at a time. So this happened to me where I had an Intro to Programming course at the same time as my AP, and we just kind of at the semester, my intro course dropped off, and my AP, we continued on with the AP portion of the course. But it was one of those scenarios where we had to have some self-paced students in there. So again, you have a lot of options available to you. You can debug some faulty examples with your students like you saw me do. You can explore the example. Maybe they explore that example with a partner or make some changes to it, as you saw in my example. Discussion questions, short quiz. The quiz, you notice that the quiz generally falls right after the video, but we have moved the quiz to the end. And this is a way that you can customize your course. If you wanted to create that quiz as an exit ticket for that particular lesson for the day, you could move it to the end once your students have had enough time to practice a little bit with the code. You can also add in different components, maybe a Padlet that they can access through the customized course components. You can add a worksheet or a handout as well. So you saw those components also. So looks like we have some time for a short break.
Yeah, we'll take about 5 minutes. We'll come back around 12:50 or 50 minutes after the hour. I know everyone's all around the country. So 50 after the hour, we'll come back and look at all our course available options. All right, everyone, welcome back. Hopefully you were able to grab a quick, glass of water, stretch your legs, because we have a chock full next hour for our session. We're going to take a look at all of the courses that we have available on CodeHS, look at how we can create those courses in sections and customize, and then look at all the tools and resources we have. So we're going to dive right in. Our course catalog, we have a sample pathway. So we have courses available from 6th through 12th grade, and we're actually expanding now into elementary school, doing some pilots there. So in the next year or so, you should see more offerings there as well, because we've noticed that that is a spot that needs to be filled as well. But we have a lot of different options to bring students all the way from very intro courses in middle school that we're gonna dive into all of these, all the way through AP courses and even past AP courses, more advanced level courses as well. So let's look first at a bunch of the middle school offerings that we have. So our first one is Intro to Programming with Carol the Dog. And you did the first lesson today with Linda. This is a JavaScript course, and it will only take about 1 quarter. This course is also offered in blocks. So you'll see in this GIF here that students can code Carol's commands using blocks and then switch to text view so that they can see all of those blocks in the actual text. And so they can, this is a really great way for them to start with blocks, especially if they have learned any programming before with Scratch, where it's all blocks and really easy to maneuver. Then get them weaned off of those blocks and into text. So this is an awesome way to get students from that and build their confidence in text programming as well. We also, for middle school, have similarly an intro to Python with Tracy the Turtle. So this is another very interactive graphic way for students to learn how to start writing code in Python. And this is 1 quarter as well. And you'll see both of these modules are also included in our larger Intro to Python and Intro to JavaScript courses as the intro, as the start to get students excited and engaged with that language. We also have an Intro to Web Design course, which is available in semester or full year. And students are going to learn HTML and CSS. And they do have blocks available for the HTML portion of the course. So at the beginning, they can use those blocks to drag in their tags, learn about how they all are going to work together, and then switch to the text view. And once they get to CSS, then they're able to, they have that confidence built to then add those higher level concepts. We have an Intro to Cybersecurity semester course for middle school. It's going to cover a lot of digital literacy and cyber hygiene. So those concepts that are important to any student, regardless if they are in the computer science field or not in their future. This is things that they all need to learn as they grow up in this digital age. We have a lot of middle school courses that take a bunch of different modules together. So most of our middle school courses have the mindset of being a survey course, where we just want students to get exposed to different concepts in computer science and see how it works and get interested and engaged. So in this World of Computing course, they're going to start with that Programming with Carol quarter-long module, and then go into what is computing and look a little bit deeper at those concepts of computers to then fill that semester-long course. Another way that we combine different modules together is our Intro to the Internet course. So they're going to start with their web design with HTML and CSS, look at some digital information. Linda was talking earlier about like a bit interpreter that you see here. And then what is the internet? How does it work? And how does the internet allow us to communicate? So this is a semester-long course option as well. One course that we launched last year is a middle school physical computing option. So this is going to use microbits. And if you have never heard of or seen a microbit before, It's a mini microcontroller that's really easy for students to work with. So they are going to apply their concepts in programming that they already know, such as loops or functions, to program this physical device. So this is an awesome way for them to understand that you can write code and then see it in the real world, right? That code will actually translate into a physical manifestation. So this is an awesome course if you want students to be able to work with physical materials. We have a lot of information on this course on our course catalog, and I'll show you how to get to that as well. We have a computing ideas, which is our one of our full year middle school courses, and this will have them look at a bunch of different CS topics. They will also learn some web design using that HTML and CSS, and Carol using JavaScript. All right, and our last course that can be used in middle or high school, which I love, is really an awesome way to get them exposed to multiple types of coding, multiple languages, and different topics in computer science in a creative way. So they're going to see all three Carol, Tracy, and web design options. And so they're going to get a little JavaScript, a little Python, some HTML and CSS, and be able to see which of these languages or programming types they really enjoyed and want to continue with. All right, so then we move to our high school options. We have our first course, our JavaScript course, which is the first course that we ever launched. This is available in a semester or full year option. It will start with that Carol program, but the Carol programming unit, but then they're going to move in and they're going to use a lot of JavaScript graphics. So you'll see here, this is the end of course project that they're going to create. And they're going to use JavaScript graphics to create this game using events and functions, parameters. All of those things are going to put together to develop this game. We have our Intro to Computer Science that has recently been upgraded to be in Python 3, which is the current version of Python that's being used across the board. So this is available in a semester or full year. Going to start with that Tracy module, and then students are going to move into console Python, where they're going to get a lot of information about strings, string manipulation, and learn a lot of those higher level concepts. We have a high school web design course, and we also actually have an even higher level and next level for web design that's for high school called web development. So in the Intro to Web Design course for high school, they're going to learn that HTML and CSS foundation. Then they're going to add Bootstrap, which is going to allow their websites to be responsive. And in web development, that's going to take information from both this web design course and JavaScript and put them together to make those interactive websites as well. And the Intro to Web Design is available in a semester or full year, and I believe the web development is just a full year course. Our cybersecurity courses for high school, we actually have 3 of them. Intro to Cybersecurity was the first high school cybersecurity course that we developed. But then we actually looked at how much cybersecurity information is out there and how many standards are included in so much high school curriculum. So we broke that up and bumped up the level. So now we have a fundamentals of cybersecurity course and an advanced cybersecurity course, which are aligned to some CompTIA certification exams. So you can get more information on that as well. I'll show you how to find that. And this is going to be available in semester or full year as well. This is a really nice mini unit that we offer, Intro to Virtual Reality. This is only going to be about 4 to 6 weeks, and it's easy for beginners to get started. This is a really nice option for a lot of teachers who teach AP, and then after the test, they're like, I still got to be with my students, but I need to fill the time, and their brains are checked out. This is a really fun way for them to continue with computer science, but in a way that is really engaging. One of our more advanced courses, mobile apps, is going to use React Native framework which uses JavaScript and HTML to develop apps that are available on both Android and Apple devices. So this is a really nice way for you to be able to have students learn how to code these apps, and then they can view them on any device that they have with them. So all of the apps that they develop in this course are going to come along with a QR code that they can use to then run the app right on their phone. This is an advanced course, so there are some prereqs that they would need, but you can also find more information about that in the supplemental section and assign that to students if they need a little refresher on those topics before they get started. And then similarly to our physical computing with microbit course that we have for middle school, we have a high school version that uses the Arduino device. So this is higher level. The Arduino device forces them to use breadboards much quicker than they would need to with a microbit, which is what makes that jump to high school. But the concepts are going to be very similar. They're still going to look at sensors, learn how to program different scenarios with their microcontroller using those concepts that they've learned before. We also have AP courses. So our AP Computer Science Principles course, we initially had this offered using JavaScript, and recently came out with our Python version for this course as well. So if you teach AP Computer Science Principles and you want to use the Python language, we have that available now. And we also recently came out with an AP Computer Science Principles course that has a cybersecurity focus. So it includes a lot of additional cybersecurity information as they're learning their concepts for CSP. We have a lot of practice throughout the course, as well as practice and review courses that are available as well. And all of our AP courses are endorsed by College Board. So we also have the AP Computer Science A course, which is in Java, and there are review courses for this AP course as well. We have a bunch of interdisciplinary modules. So these are really good options for either that week before winter break or spring break, or options for students once they have completed work that you are requiring them. These are nice, fun ways for them to get engaged with computer science in a more friendly and fun environment. So for middle or high school, we have our coding and music, art, sports, showing them how they can still relate those interests that they have outside of computer science with coding. And then we have some more specific modules that are focused on math or science, where I teach physics, and I love being able to bring computer science into my physics classroom and showing students that our class periods are not so segregated, right? All of these things fit together. So showing them that exists is really important. And we just launched a bunch of new courses last week that are now available in the catalog for you to create sections of with your students. So let's take a look at those. So we launched an Intro to Artificial Intelligence course, which is a really awesome way for students to see the implications of AI and then learn to code some programs with AI. This is a semester-long course, and it does require students to have some information in Python before. So maybe if they have taken our Intro to Python 3 course or learned Python another way, then they'll be ready for that course information. We also have another very popular course, Game Design in Unity. People have been asking for this course for years, and finally, we buckled down and we said, all right, now's the time. So this course is going to use the Unity platform, which a lot of professional game developers use. So this is a really awesome option for students to see this amazing platform that they can build games that look like the ones that they're buying and playing at home. This course doesn't have a prerequisite, so their students can take this course regardless if they have programming experience or not, and it is going to be a year-long course. We also have a data science course, which is a really awesome option to show students how CS and math really go together very, very closely. I am very excited to show my math teachers at my school this course and see how they can bring it into their math courses. This is just a semester-long course, and there is a prerequisite that they know some Python before they get started in this data science course. And then one of our more advanced courses, data structures in C++. So this is our first course in C++. This is going to be a really good option for after students, those students who have taken AP Computer Science Principles or AP Computer Science A before their senior year, and then they get to their senior year and they're like, well, what else do you have for me? This is a great option for those more advanced students. And we also have, had those AP offerings, but we know that a lot of schools also offer IB programs. So we just launched our IB computer science courses as well. And I had talked about some of those interdisciplinary modules that are available. We have packaged them together in these mini courses where students can go through this content, one at a time or in whatever order they want. Teachers can bring this content in, bring just in one module or bring all of them in. And there are a lot of really awesome ways for students to see how math and science and computer science are all combined. All right, so we're going to hop over to our course catalog. So I am going to actually just open this here because I don't want to have to switch my screen share. So our course catalog, and I'll just throw this right into the chat really quick. So you can take a look as well. And I'm going to show you how to get here from your main CodeHS page as well in a minute. But on our course catalog, you have so many options for filters. We have so many state courses. So if you're like, I teach in Indiana, search your state and you'll see all of the options that we have available. Any of our state courses we have built to be fully aligned to state standards that exist. So if you want to search for middle school, if you want to just look at Python options, hour of code, we have a bunch of options there. Our new courses, you want to hop over right to there. You have all of those options available. So before I move on to how you're actually going to create your own courses and sections, are there any questions that I need to take a look at? I'm going to see. All right. And if they're in the parking lot, I'm sure they will be getting answered. Middle school in New York. Yeah, so we have just started building out these state specific courses. It's a great question. There are some states that we already have that are very aligned. We have when we started developing our courses, we were very focused on those CSTA standards, and some states have really just fully adopted CSTA standards. Some states have come up with their complete own standards. So those states, it is a little bit more difficult for us to get that information together as quickly as we have with our CSTA, but they are coming. And if you are looking for a specific course and you're not sure, where the best alignment is, we have so many alignment tools. I would put that on the parking lot, and I'm sure we can get some links there for you about our standards alignment tools to show you out of our offerings right now, which are the best options, but then also writing into our support, which you can do right by going to your toolbox and support, contact us and saying, I teach this course. I would love to have this course available. Here's the standards. Our team is incredible at making things happen for teachers. Our main goal is, giving you what you need. So definitely, if there is something that you're looking for and we don't have it yet, write in. That's the only reason that Unity course got built, right? That was a really difficult course because it's not on the CodeHS platform. So that would be a really awesome course to ask for. We can look at some standards aligned tools. I will actually, we can probably just go there right now. So the easiest thing to do to get to your standards are go to codehs.com/ and type in your state. So I like Indiana because I worked on a lot of these courses, so I will just go there. And you'll be able to see all of your information on your specific state. You're going to see any of the courses that your state has approved, and then alignments to those. So specifically, let's look at alignment to Indiana Computer Science 1. You can click here and you'll see that we will open our framework, which will have all of the standards in this framework, and we can choose a course. So we actually have an Indiana Computer Science 1 course that's fully aligned to these standards. So you'll see once we align to that course and it loads up, we're on Zoom, so it's a little tough. You'll see we are 100% mapped. All of the standards are mapped here, and you'll see exactly which lessons in this course hit which standard. So this is a really awesome tool that I definitely suggest you check out. And we also have optional pathways. So the different courses that we offer, how aligned they are, where you can find that information. So this is a great option. And you can find all your states and your alignments right here, and see, maybe you're like, well, I don't want to teach this course. I want to teach, say, cybersecurity. So this is a really good option for you. Thank you, Linda. There's a direct link there. So you can say, oh, okay, I want to teach cybersecurity. I'm 77% mapped. Here's the lessons that match. And these are the exact standards that are missing that I would need to fill in for myself. So lots of ways to build the course that you want. And we're going to look at that in just a minute, how to build your custom courses. Any other questions about state standards or alignments, any of that? All right. Well, if there's more, throw them in the parking lot, throw them in the chat, and I will hit those. All right. So we are going to hop over now to look at managing our courses and sections. So I just showed you all these options, and now you're like, okay, well, I want to use all these courses with my students. How do I do that? So I am going to actually share my other screen so that I can show you from my teacher, my teacher account. Here we go. So we just took a look at that course catalog. And if you are looking, how do I get to that course catalog on your main screen? You always have this toolbar at the top of your screen on CodeHS. If you click on My Courses, at the very bottom, you'll have a list of all the courses you're teaching, courses you're taking, because you can take courses as a student as well. You can click right into View Course Catalog, and that will bring up this page. You can also find it in your toolbox as well. All right. So there's the course catalog. Now we're going to hop over. How do I create these courses for my students? How do I create sections? Great question, Krista. There are PD courses for teachers. Linda, can you find that PD link to share out, or we can put it in the parking lot as well. But there's a link that gives you all information about the PD offerings that we have. There are PD courses that you can take on your own, specifically. Thank you, Emily. You can take those on your own time, and we have our PD team who are managing those and answering your questions as you're going through, so that you can learn that content. If you are saying you need to, learn Java, you need to teach Java, and you're like, I don't know Java, we have prep courses for that as well. Certificates, I think you definitely get like okay. Well, I think she means for the online PD courses. I do think they come with a certificate or something that shows that you completed those. So yes. All right. So we're gonna look at our main screen. How do we get ourselves set up here? So you can see when I log in, I have all of these courses here, these sections of my for my 2021-2022 school year. You might be blank, or you might have just our summer workshop section on there. But I'm going to show you how we can navigate this and make this work for you. So the difference between courses and sections is that courses are the actual content that we teach in the course. So the actual activities and lessons. The sections are like period 1, period 2, period 3, right? So period 1 and period 2, I might be teaching the same course. So you'll see here, I have this demo section and this demo section. They're both intro to JavaScript. So the course is intro to JavaScript. Here, the course is intro to Python, the course is mobile apps, but these are my separate sections of students where the students would join, and I can have all my students in period 1 be in that one course. So here we have our courses section. So if I click on courses, there are a lot of different workflows. So I'm going to show you a few, and you can choose the way that works best for you. So you'll see here, I have 4 courses that are in my courses. We can create a new course. So say I'm like, oh, actually, I want to teach the Arduino course. So I'm going to do create new course. And I am going to, once it loads up, choose my name. So this is going to be intro to Arduino. And the reason that you are choosing a name, you're like, doesn't the course already have a name, right? We just went through all of those courses in the catalog. This is because you can customize this course however you want. So my course is going to be called Intro to Arduino. I can start with a CodeHS template course if I want, which I highly recommend, or you always have the option to just start from scratch. You can create your own course that is just blank and add all your own content in there. So that is an option for you, because honestly, there are some teachers who are like, I've been teaching computer science for years and years and years, but I just want all of my content in one place, right? They might already have built out all of this content. You can create all of that content on CodeHS and just use the CodeHS IDE and grading, which is really helpful with your own information. But the majority of teachers are going to use a template CodeHS course. So I'm going to choose course template. And so I am looking for the Arduino course. I want to teach our intro to physical computing with Arduino. So I'm going to choose this course. It's going to create my course based on the assignments that are in that option. And now it's added to my list of courses here. So these are all the courses that I'm saying I have taught in the past or I am teaching now. Is there, let me just check here. It looks editing the name. Yeah, you can edit later, and I can show you how to do that as well. So we have now my list of courses. You'll see here though, like for this, my Intro to JS course, I have one section of that. My mobile apps course, I have one section of that. But my Arduino, I don't have any sections yet. So this means I have created that course and all of the content is in there from that Arduino CodeHS course, but I don't have any sections where students will actually join yet. So you can, one workflow option for you is create a course and then go into the course and customize it however you want, and then create sections of it. But another option, which I'm going to show you that way, is creating a section, and then you can customize whenever you want, right? You're not like cut off. Once you create a section, you can't customize anymore. You can customize as much as you want. So if I go back to my main screen and I'm on sections, I want to create a new section. So I'm going to click this button up here. And there are a few options that I have when I am creating sections. So this is going to be maybe period to Arduino, right? This is my students who are going to take that Arduino course, but they're in period 2. So I'm going to click next. And now I have my courses. So if I had done any customization already to this course, all of that customization that existed in that Intro to Arduino course that I created will be available and will be added to my period 2 course. Or I can just go straight from the CodeHS course list and choose a course here. So you don't need to create a course first. You can just create the section and say, I want this section to take JavaScript, or I want this section to take Python. So you have that option as well. But since I already made this course, I'm just going to choose that one. Yep, and your courses will be available from year to year. So yes, you can, you customized a course, it's all perfect from last year. You can use that course again for the next school year. Perfect. All right, so now I have this period 2 Arduino section. And here is the information on how my students will join, because you'll see right here, I have no students in this section yet. So this may be collapsed depending on when you view this page. You can always expand it to get more information. So this looks very similar to that link that we joined, that we used to join our demo course this morning, like 30 minutes ago, an hour ago. And the last 5 digits are that code. So that is going to be that specific code for your course. And you'll see the class code here. You'll also see the class code on that main section page as well, which I can go back to and show you in a second too. But here, that is the link that you're going to send to students, and they're going to enter that code and sign up, and then they'll be added to your roster page. So all your students will be added there. Awesome question, Krista. You can, we do have integration with Google Classroom. If you put that question in the parking lot, we have a bunch of help articles to show you all of those options and how to use Google Classroom with CodeHS. So throw that in the parking lot and we'll make sure that we get those article links to you as well. All right. Okay, so this is how you're going to create your sections. We looked at our course catalog, how we can grab those courses and create sections of them, and how students are going to join our sections. So do we have any questions at this point before I hop into our specific tools that we're going to use with our sections and how you're going to actually run your course? Actually, I'm going to do customization first. I forgot. Okay. So let's look at how we can customize this course. So this main page that's going to show up when you click into your course, and let me show you that actually how you can get there. So right here on this main page that you see, I have my period 2 Arduino course. So once I click in there, and you'll see, like I had said earlier, here is the code to your course. So if you're like on this main page and your kid's like, oh, how do I join this one again? What's the code? There it is right there on your main page for you to share. So if we click into our course, good question. Yeah. Emily, yes, if you add those questions to the parking lot, we have so many articles that will help you out. So that is a great place for that. And Emily, I know, has all that information for you. All right. So on our main page, when we click into our section, you're going to automatically be brought to this roster page, which is where you see your students. Once you have students, and we have a bunch of tools on this page that I'm going to take a look at in a minute. But if we hop over to assignments, this is the actual content of the course. So this is what is included right here. We have our intro to Arduino, all of our modules here, and we can customize this course however we want. So if I go into our intro to Arduino, I'll see all of those lessons that are in this module. I can expand and see all of the activities in the lesson, in the module. And you'll see there are a bunch of different ways for you to change the way that this course is structured. So not that you, for this course, would really want to do this, but if you ever do want to rearrange content, this edit button up here will allow you to drag and drop the modules into a different order. So that is helpful as you're adding new content, and I'll show you that then. And removing content, if we click these 3 dots, you have that option remove, and this will take that module and throw it into the trash can. So if I didn't want this module, maybe there's like in your JavaScript, intro to JavaScript course, you're saying, maybe I don't want to start with Carol. I want to go right into JavaScript because my students have had some computer science in middle school, so they don't need it. So you can remove that module and it will ask you, are you sure, right? Because once it's in the trash can, you can still get it out of the trash can, but it makes it a little bit more difficult. And I'm going to show you what I mean in a minute. But for now, I'm going to leave that not deleted. So let's see, how do we add content? There are a bunch of different options here. So at the bottom, you'll see search for content. And if you expand this, if there is supplemental content for this course, it will show up here. And actually, yeah, let me go into a different one because I want to make sure that we are, I can show you all these things. So let's go into my demo section. Okay, so here is JavaScript. This is a really old course. This is a course that we came out with right when we first started CodeHS. So I actually will show you here. I'm going to remove this module because, like I said, my students have already taken coding before, so they don't need it. So I'm going to delete this module and delete the challenges. And I'll show you in the trash how we can get that back later. But now I want to add some content. So I'm going to go to the bottom, and you'll see here with our Arduino course, because it's so new, there wasn't much supplemental material. There wasn't any supplemental material for that course. But for many of our other courses that have been around for many years, there's a lot of additional options that you can add to the course right from here. So there's extra practice, extra challenges, some different projects that you can include into your course. This helicopter game is awesome and very exciting for students to build. So you can assign that to your course right from here. You also have the option to look at content from the catalog, look at some playlists or community content, which means content that was built by other CodeHS users that have built out their own information, and you can add it to your own course. But the best workflow that I see, if you're looking to add supplemental, this is the best way. So come down here and find it there. If you're looking to add content from another CodeHS course, let's say that I actually, instead of Carol, I want my students to do Tracy to start this. So I'm going to go to add, and here I can choose CodeHS content. The reason that this is a better option, I will show you. If we click add CodeHS content here, instead of from that bottom section, if we click it from the bottom, we're adding content from the entire course. If I choose it from here, from add and CodeHS content here, and I click on the course, instead of adding every single module and lesson from that course to my new course, I can just add one module, or I can even just add a few lessons. So this is really, really helpful because you don't have to then have all of this content and go around and delete everything, right? Is there a way to search for a particular activity within the courses? What do you mean, Krista? Like search like by the name of an activity, or like if-else statements?
Can I just talk?
So sure,
can you hear me?
That's so much easier. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was capable or not. So for an example, you said the helicopter game is really cool. If I wanted to search for an activity that I'd done last year and I was like, oh man, I don't remember which course that was in, but I want to assign it to this class. How do I do that? Is it possible to do, or no, I got to figure it out?
That's a really good question. I know that you can search through a course, but I don't know how you could search through like any course.
The whole
like I know once
database.
you're in a course, you can type in like, Carol puzzle or whatever, and you can find that item in the course, but I don't know if there's a way to search like any course for one activity.
Do you want me to put it in the parking lot to see if maybe
yes.
tech support can? Okay,
yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. An option here, Julia, I don't know if you see that little plus symbol. Like if you expand them all and then just hit Control F on your keyboard, maybe you could find a specific one that way.
But I
it
think
would be
she's looking for an item instead of a lesson. That's
an item instead of a lesson. Yeah. So that's really great, Krista. Thank you for bringing that up, because we could definitely bring it back to the engineering team.
Yeah, add it to the parking lot, because we might have, there's so many tools on CodeHS that honestly, that might exist and I just don't know where. So put it in there and we can find you an answer. Awesome. So I'm trying to add here my Turtle Graphics module to my course. So I'm just going to check that module. And again, I can choose just specific lessons if I want, but I'm going to choose that module and click Assign Selected. Now that module is going to get added to my course. And you'll see once we come back, I don't see it, right? Where is it? I just added it. Well, anytime you're making changes, the first thing you should do is refresh, because as soon as you refresh, all of those changes should now be applied to your course. And now we'll see when we scroll down, we have our Intro to Programming with Turtle Graphics module added. So this is the perfect scenario where I was saying before, before we might not want to edit the order of these, but now I actually want the Turtle module to be at the top of my list. So I'm going to drag this all the way up so that this is the first module that students see. But once I do that, you'll see this should be unit 1 now, right? And it's unit 2. So how do I make the numbers of my modules be in order? Once you're making changes, this course settings is a really great spot to do that. So go into course settings, and we have an option to toggle on to show sequential module numbers. So once we toggle this on, our module numbers should be numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Also, I had before talked about that trash. So you can view the trash from here on that course settings, but you'll see why I told you that it's not the best to just delete something, because all of those assignments now have been separated from that module. So in order to bring them back, I have to restore all of them. And honestly, it's not that long, but this is a very, very big module that I deleted. So now I have to bring all of them back. Honestly, I would probably not bring them from the trash. I'd probably just add the module again. So lots of options there. Okay, so that's in our course settings. Let's go back to our assignments here. So that was, we added content from CodeHS, and now you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4. And we are now going to add our own content. So what if before students even get here, I want to ask them some questions like, what do you know about computer science? Some background information. I want to add a welcome module. So I can add blank module, lesson, or assignment. Here, I would add a blank module, and it will ask me, what do you want to call it? And I'm going to call it Welcome to CS. And I can choose an image, but just a note, this is going to be the image like this circle. So it needs to be a square image, or else it's going to get stretched and look a little funky. So make sure that your image is has that square aspect ratio. If you don't choose an image, it is optional. You can create that module, and it will just be given that generic CodeHS logo here. So I, again, want to drag this one. I'm going to edit, and I'm going to drag my Welcome to CS module all the way to the top of my course and click Done. And now I have this module, but there's nothing in it. So yes, you can add a lesson or an assignment from here, but if I do this, it's going to add it to the end of my course, and then I'm going to have to drag that and add it into the module that I want. Instead, I can just click into this module and add a new lesson. And you'll notice that you can do this with modules you've created or with modules from CodeHS. So maybe before they start learning JavaScript and graphics, you just want to put in like a video that's going to welcome them to this new module. You can add that right in here. So you are allowed to change both the CodeHS content and your own content, add your own lesson and options there. So we can add a new lesson, and maybe I'm going to say like CS background. That's going to be my first lesson in this welcome module. Now in this lesson, there's no activities. So now I'm going to add an assignment, and maybe the first thing that I want is going to be a free response. I want to ask them some questions, and they're going to, just tell me a little bit about themselves. So I'm going to add a free response, and we have a lot of different options. I'm going to go through a few of them. So if I add a free response, now I have a bunch of options. I can ask them to write code in a specific language. If I just want to ask them questions, I'm just going to choose plain text. And now I can choose, sorry, I got all the Zoom stuff. So this is going to be, tell me about your, well, I guess this is going to be like previous CS experience. Oh my. And I'll say like, answer the following questions. Maybe one, like, how long have you been coding, right? 2, 3, blah, 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 blah. So I can ask these questions. And once I save this, I can preview it right here if I want. So once I click preview, I'll see it open in a new tab, and it will have my directions here. And when they click let's go, they'll be able to answer those questions, blah, 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 right? And they can submit this to you. If I go back to my assignments, now I'll be able to see that free response has been added to my CS background lesson. And I can add other things. So Krista said, can we attach a Google form? You can embed lots of things. So let's say I want to add like a slide deck. I want to add some Google Slides. So I am going to choose this. Let me move my thing. I'm going to choose my embed. And I am going to say this is going to be like slides for today. And I'm going to use our slides. And I'll say, here is our slide deck. If I save that, I can preview that. And let's hope that it's not mad at me. I should see our slide deck right here once it loads. Okay. Zoom doesn't really like me sometimes. All right, let's see. Let's do it again. I'm gonna add, oh, I don't want a lesson, I want an assignment. And so the one thing, we have tried to embed like a bunch of things. So like Padlet, Pear Deck, Google Forms, all of these things. Some of them work better in this embed. Some of them work better in this article, right? Because they're both embedding things. So I would say if you ever try something and you find, we honestly have not found anything that doesn't embed. You try it in one, and then if it doesn't work, try it in the other. So that would be my my best advice. Slides. All right. And let's see if this one will show up for us. I think it might just be Zoom. Oh, see it. It knows that it's here. Awesome. Okay. So here's our slides for today's workshop. So you can give students Google Slides, Google Docs, Google Forms right here, a Jamboard, Padlet. We have done lots of these different options. So then students don't have to even go off of the site. They just are clicking through their course and seeing the next items in the list. And now when we come back, now I'm gonna have probably 2 of them. And again, I can say, okay, this is the one that didn't work for me. I'm just going to remove it. All right. We have lots of different types of items that you can add. So those are 2 that are pretty great. So like asking students just any free response that you want from them is really a good option to add. You can also create your own videos. You can add your own YouTube videos or Edpuzzle. You can create screencasts and add those so your students are actually hearing from you or seeing you. You can create your own quizzes to add into our courses. practice problems. So a lot of teachers who get to that advanced level, they're like, well, now I want to create my own practice problems for students that I have auto graders on. You can create your own auto graded practice problems for students there as well. Add in any articles, notes. So I just talked to a teacher yesterday who teaches a lot of students who are EL students. Most of them speak Spanish. So she wanted to add in some Spanish information as well. You can add those. I think this note section would be a great way to add some translations or additional information that you want to give to students before they start a problem or a lesson. So lots of different options and ways that you can use this custom create feature. All right, do we have any, and you'll see, it will tell me I need to finish this one, right? I started making it and then I was like, oh, never mind. So if I don't want it, I can remove, or I can go right back in and create that item. All right, so do we have any questions before I move in? Can CodeHS be added to ClassLink or Clever? So we do have some integrations with Clever. I don't think I've heard about ClassLink. But we can give you more information about those integration options. Throw it in the parking lot. We got lots of articles for you. All right.
We do have a ClassLink integration. It just depends on the district.
Awesome. Look at that. Learning new things all the time. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so I do know that we have some of those integration options, but they're available at different levels. So get that in the parking lot and you will get an article response there. All right, so we looked at creating our own courses, creating our own sections. How do we add students? How do we customize? There are a bunch of other tools though, right? You're like, okay, but how do I see my students work? How do I, someone asked a question before, how do I make sure, like, how can I have one student see something and another student not, right? Can I like make sure that students are looking at the content that I want them to look at when I want them to see it, right? So we have all of these tools that I'm gonna cover in the next 15 minutes. So if we are, let me got all my trash and all these options, all these things up here already. Okay, so I'm gonna hop into my demo section because this is my course that has students already in it, right? And I can see some of a snapshot of their progress. I have a lot of different options on how to control their accounts on here as well. This is again where students would have that link to join my course if I had more students hop in. But I'm gonna start by looking at a bunch of tools on this page that are, there's even more, but I'm gonna show you 3 that are really cool. So this announcements feature we're gonna start with. And if I click announcements, here you can write an announcement to go to a certain section. So whenever these students in the section log into CodeHS, they're gonna see this announcement from you pop up on their screen. And I know that for my students, they are very bad at email. So I love having this option where I know that as soon as they log in, they're getting that information I wanted to share with them. So once you send an announcement, you'll see a list of them at the bottom. So you can track back and say, did I tell them this? Yeah, right here on your announcements, you're gonna see the ones that you have sent. Then we also have another way to communicate with individual students. So let me move my chat again. All right, so if you want to have a conversation with a specific student, we have this conversation tool and you have this option for any of your students. So if you click on that conversation tool, it will open a similar page to those announcements, but now it's just with that one student. And any announcements you sent obviously went to that student as well. So those will be listed in the dialogue, but anything that you have sent to them and a timestamp will be right there and they can communicate back and forth with you. You saw when Linda was showing you the editor, another way to communicate with students on a specific exercise. But if you wanted to just check in with a student, regardless of independent of an exercise in the course, this is a great way to do that. And the last tool that I want to show you on this page is this attendance tool. So our attendance will bring up a list of all my students and the date, and I can see when they first logged in, when they were working most recently, and the total time they spent on CodeHS today. I can also see this by the week. If I want to look at a specific week, I can always toggle back and forth. So look in the past. All my students are at the beach, so none of them are logging on now, but this is where I would see a check mark for each student whenever they have logged in to CodeHS. All right, so I also know that we have a lot of teachers on here that are a mix. There's some teachers who have pro, some teachers who are free. So I want to show you how you can tell what tools are free and pro. And someone did ask this in the parking lot, and Emily dropped a really good link to an awesome page that gives information about all of this. But one space that I do like to show you that's available for you to see is this more all tools. And it says advanced because it's not like as pretty as many of our other pages. But this is a really good place for you to see what tools are available and do I have access to them. So if you click into more all tools advanced, you'll see this page. We have a lot of different categories of our tools, a description of what they are, and then you'll see the status. So we're constantly developing new tools as well. So the green ones means they're live, they're ready to go. We have some beta and alpha tools as well. And then this is the really helpful part. You have this plan. So you can see which tools are on free, which are on pro, and over here, it will tell you if you have access to that tool. So there are quite a bit of pro tools, but there also are a lot of options on free. And we have so many teachers who use CodeHS on free for years before they can get it on from their school. So definitely don't get discouraged by seeing, how do I do this? If you are on free and you're wondering, how can I do this pro thing? How can I grade? How can I do this? Just ask, because we have a lot of, workarounds and stuff. We know a lot of teachers are in that scenario. And the other really helpful thing are these links right here directly to help articles and video demos for these tools. How do I get there? Again, if you're on your main section page, more all tools advanced. So this page, really helpful if you're like, I need more information on how to use the gradebook, right? You can go right to that help article or the video demo there. All right, so I am going to dive into some of these tools now that you know how you can see your access to them. There isn't a more. It should be once you're in a section. So maybe you're not in a section, or you should be able to also get to it if you go to Toolbox, View Full Toolbox. You can find it that way as well. All right, so one tool that I love is due date and access controls. So if we go into course settings, due date and access controls is going to be the spot that we're going to take a look at. This is an awesome way to differentiate for your students. So we have a lot of different ways for them to either view certain assignments or navigate to certain assignments. So here is a list of all of the modules in my course, and I can expand to see the lesson or expand to see the activity. So you have control all the way to the most granular level here. Assigned, what assigned means is this module is included in your course. Your students will see this module in their course. If I unassign it, this means that these modules will not show up in my course. And let me just refresh here. Oh, because this is the course that I had played around with. So they're like, Carol, they're like, that doesn't even exist. I had preloaded this page. So, all right. So now I'm like, actually, I'm changing my mind. I don't want them to see this turtle in their course, this turtle unit. The reason that I would unassign it instead of remove it like I had with the Carol is if I unassign it, that means that my students won't see it in their list, but I have an option to go into each specific student. And maybe Aiden, most of my students have already taken some computer science, but Aiden hasn't. So I don't want all of my students to take this turtle lesson, this turtle module, but I do want Aiden to take it. So I can, if I unassign it for the class, I can then assign it just for him. So this is an awesome way to allow students to get practice when they need practice, give extra challenges to students who need that, but not have everyone know that, you know, this kid is seeing this and this kid's seeing this. This is a great way to specifically give your students what they're looking for. And they'll then only see those modules that are assigned to them. So this is a great option there. You can also add a due date. And if you add a due date to a module or an assignment, if it's completed after that, it will just have a flag so that you'll know it was past the date that you had set. Access controls are also really helpful. So you may want to start the year locking all of the modules. Maybe you're like, I want my kids to get into CodeHS, but I know that if they have access to it, they're just going to run with it, right? And I will tell you, with like Carol or Tracy or web design, you're going to give them a little bit of information and they're like, this is so cool. And they just want to keep going. So that might be great. But if you want to keep them semi self-paced or completely paced with the class, then you can lock these modules and they will still see that that content is there, but they won't be able to click in to access that material. So some teachers may go in and say, I'm going to lock this lesson, and then I'm going to give my, direct instruction at the beginning. And once I'm done, now I'm going to give students access. So I'm going to come in and say, now this is available. So I want to make sure that my students are paying attention to what I'm saying when I need them to all be together. You can also schedule these things to open or close. And one scenario that I really like for this is these challenges. So say that they get to this challenge module, and this has like maybe 4 or 5 larger programs for them to develop. I might want to say, okay, guys, this module is going to open on Monday and it's going to close on Friday. So you have a week to complete these challenges. So I can schedule this module to open on a certain date and close on a certain date. So they know they only have access for that week. And then they know by the end of the week, it's going to lock them out. They need to make sure they're done by Friday. So lots of options here. And I had mentioned before, you can go in for each specific student. And once you click into a student, you'll see all those settings for just that student. And you have some additional options as well, blocks or copy and paste. If you don't see those, you'll see them here in your list on the side. But this is another way to make sure that students are getting what they need and still being challenged in your classroom. All right, let's keep going because we still have a bunch to do in probably 7 minutes. Okay, so now we're gonna head into progress, and I'm looking at assignment progress specifically. This is a really great place for you to be when your students are in your classroom and they're working. So you have a heat map here of where students are, who's working on what have they completed, what is ready for you to grade. So you'll see the key here, and I'm not going to go over what all of the colors mean, but when you hover over them, it will tell you. So you'll get used to these colors because you'll see them in a bunch of different places. Another place you'll see them is in the gradebook. So if I hop into gradebook, you'll see those same colors, but now there's a point value attached, and you'll see all of the items in the course. You can configure this gradebook however you want. We now have options for you to weight certain things, so definitely check that out. But I want to show you one thing that a lot of teachers don't know exists. So let's say I see here this make a tower activity. All of my students have submitted it, and I need to now go in and grade it. Good question, Krista. The gradebook is a pro tool. So yeah, this is on the pro plan. So I can go into this make a tower directly from here and click on the item up here, and it will bring me to a page that will show me when my student submitted it, how long they spent, and I can see that it's all submitted and ready for me to give them a point value. I love this section here because I can see both. Some people were talking about cheating earlier. This is a really great way. If a student spent 3 seconds on it, they probably copy and paste it from somewhere else. So that's a good option for you to chat with them. How do we get there again? I know, sorry, I'm going so fast. You will get this recording so you can pause it and try this on your own. If you're in the gradebook and you click on the name of an exercise, you will get to this page. And so this total time spent can both give you information about maybe possible cheating or students who may need some more support. If they've been sitting on an exercise for 10 minutes and everyone else, it just took them 2, you might want to check in with them. They might need some more support there. But if we go into Fast Grade from here, you will be able to grade back to back to back all of those assignments. So just that Make a Tower assignment, it will give you all of your students. And here, the way that our Fast Grade is set up, and Fast Grade is a pro tool, but I'll show you how to grade if you are on free. So Fast Grade, you'll see your students code and your solution code side by side. You can run the students code, you can run the solution code, you can give them a grade right here, give them feedback. So this is a really awesome and quick way for you to go back to back to back grade all your students' work. But if you go to review or code review on the side here, you can get into grade mode, which is our free grading platform. You'll still see all your submissions, and you can get into Fast Grade from here as well, but there are differences there. But with going in through here, you're just going to go by the time that it was submitted. If we go into grade mode, it will look more like the student's editor, and you can go to the grade tab and you still have all of those options to give them comments and grade their work. All right, I know that I'm going very fast. If you need more information about grading or anything, put it in the parking lot because we have lots of help articles there. The last 2 things I really, really want you to know before we finish up today: resources. So we have lesson plans, problem guides, handouts. Someone said, is there an answer key for the activities or the challenges? Great question, right? If you are like, well, I'm brand new to coding, I don't even know what the answers are, right? There's a lot of teachers that are told, you're ready, you got to teach this class, and you're like, how do I do this? So we have available on all our plans. So if you're free or pro, solution references are available for every single exercise in our courses. So don't worry, you will be able to see that solution. Lesson plans, problem guides, handouts, really awesome information here. I would love to click in and show you some examples, but we're running out of time. But if you are on free, you will receive all of these resources for the first 5 lessons of any course. So you can view the first 5 lessons, handouts, problem guides, lesson plans, and take a look at those. And a lot of free teachers will look at those first 5 and then use that as a skeleton to build out the rest. If you're on the pro plan, you'll get all of those resources for the entire course. And the very last thing before we wrap up today, I want to show you how you can get in touch with us and get questions answered when you're not in a workshop with us, like right now. So if we go to the toolbox, and I showed you before, we have support. Contact us is a really great place for you to get in communication with us, ask us a question, ask for a feature that you think we need, that, or you're like, I don't know, is this possible? Can I do this? Send us a message. We have an awesome support team ready to help you out. This knowledge base is a great place to go to get your questions answered yourself. So if you click into knowledge base, you'll see all of these articles and demos. So if you're like grading, like how do I do grading? You're going to get all of these different options and say, oh, this is what I wanted to do. Viewing grades for individual students, that's what I wanted to look at. So you can click in there. There's so much information, lots of GIFs and images to help you see how to use these tools and answer your own questions. Okay, let me really quickly get my other thing back up so we can finish out today. Perfect. I know I gave you so much information. you are going to receive this recording and the slide deck. And in our slides, I'm just going to actually close this out so that I can get to the slide I want, because I demoed all of that, but you have all of this information in the slide deck in GIFs and videos and images. So definitely check that out. But we are just going to close today. All right. So we're going to throw you a few last links. We have a CodeHS certified educator program. As you start using CodeHS and you're like, I love it, I want to become a certified educator, ask us more information about that. We can get you some info. We have a really active Facebook group. So to stay in contact with other teachers who are in similar scenarios to you, teaching these same things, this is a really great place to go to get connected. And we'll throw those into the chat. We have that Facebook link there. Awesome. Thank you, Linda. And if you could take just a few minutes and fill out our workshop survey, just a quick Google form. We always are trying to make sure we're giving you the information you're coming for. So it's really helpful for us. If you came to this new CS workshop and you were looking for something else, we want to know so that the next one will be even better. We're always trying to improve our PDs because we do this just to make your lives easier. And the last thing, if you need a certificate for being here for our 2-hour session today, you can fill out this really quick Google form, new CS-certificate. It's just going to ask for your name and email, and we'll get that certificate sent out to you so you can show it to whoever you need to. Just double check your email, because every time there's a typo, and then you won't receive that. So make sure you have that that double checked. And we'll drop that link in the chat as well. And I know we're 2 minutes over our time. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you for all the awesome questions. I hope that you had a great time and you have a great school year. And reach out to us if you have any questions or need any help. All right, awesome. I love to hear it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
I